The smoke is going this way.
No, it came this way.
Lord. Hey, folks. Guess what I got? Got me a Missouri Meerschaum corncob pipe. This is the Maiden Smoke. Got me some more vanilla custard cream Sutliff pipe tobacco. The Z92 vanilla
let me
custard.
Smoke that one time.
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't inhale. Be Bill Clinton. Out here on a Sunday afternoon, I almost dropped the pipe. Sunday afternoon, and it is nice.
It's fallish. Fall is in the air.
Of course, it could be a false fall. We know that.
Yes. But we're going
It
to
rained
enjoy
yesterday.
it while we have it.
It rained yesterday. Just about all day long to some degree. Look for Cooper, he's over there.
No, I was looking for Bella.
She's over here. She was over here. Cooper's over there chewing on a rock. You can tell by looking at him.
Yeah.
Hadn't made a family vlog recently, so I thought we would today to display my Missouri Meerschaum corncob pipe and my big lighter. So, what you want to talk about, babe?
I don't know.
What? You've got
Yeah.
nothing to talk about? You know, in Revelations, it talks about there was silence in heaven for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I forget exactly how it's termed or recorded. So I'm worried about any women making it to heaven. I really am.
That is so not true. We could talk about angels. About our angels.
We can't talk just about me, baby.
About our guardian angels, and angels are God's messengers sent to help us in our everyday
You're going to have to
life.
speak up because you don't have a mic. That way they can hear you.
Oh, I'm sure they can hear me.
Mm-mm.
So all they just see is my mouth moving like,
They're still thinking silence in heaven.
no.
Well, what I'm concerned with is not so much angels. It's them little devils in church.
We don't have any of those.
Well, no, and if anybody from my church is watching this, we don't have any little devils in our church.
No.
But it's the ones that the parents need to take outside and paint their back porch red. And you know, this is what I can't understand. Now, some of these big churches, they have nurseries. And you take your kids and install them in the nursery during the church service.
Install them?
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're going to go to hell for taking your kids to the nursery classes.
No, you're not.
But, you know, I just wonder. And I think a lot. I study a lot. People know this, watch me. You know, parents will
Give me a headache.
sign their children up for every sport under the sun. And they'll haul them all over God's green creation to these sporting events to make sure that they had the experience. But when it comes to church, a lot of these bigger churches, they just send the babies and youngins off to a children's church and leave them there. And they're not, you know, in the church service with their family. To me, that's just a disservice to the child. They need to be able to have those memories of being in church with their parents from memory beginning. I can vividly remember my mama pinching the fire out of my legs in church because I got a little too noisy.
You?
Mm-hmm.
You were noisy?
Well, generally it had something to do with a little Matchbox car going across the back of the bench going, oh,
And that didn't fit in with the
there was-
Sunday sermon.
No, it was not the silence in heaven.
Well, I don't think that we should speak negatively of other churches
I'm
and their choices of what to do, because that's what they to do. That's what they do.
They to do?
They to do, and what they decide,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. Just the churches that we've always attended, the children have always been with us in the service.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Sunday school, they go into Sunday school class, and that's their time of learning. And then in the 11 o'clock service or worship service, where the preacher preaches and gives a message, the children come in with us. And that's just the church that we've attended.
Yeah.
So we don't need to speak negatively of other churches.
Oh, I'm not.
And we don't want to. We don't want.
I'm not.
Okay. But
Do you see my point, though?
I see your point. And when our children were growing up, if they were misbehaving, they have to learn to sit and be quiet and pay attention.
Use their inside voices
Right.
and stuff like that.
They're children. They're gonna. They're not
Well,
gonna want to
when
sit
our kids
still.
were little, we moved to the back of the church. That way we wouldn't disrupt the class.
Exactly. We
My
sat towards.
meerschaum pipe.
I lost my train of thought now.
Woo woo.
So, no, but we did move towards the back so we wouldn't be disruptive up front.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got a little bigger, we moved back towards the front. And because we wanted them to pay attention and that type of thing. But, when they do misbehave and they're being very loud and causing a commotion, that's when you need to take them out and have a chat with them or whatever discipline you feel is necessary, because they need to learn to behave in church.
They have to be taught.
Exactly.
And
they're not going to just.
The Baptist churches we belong to, most Baptist preachers can out-preach a pretty rowdy kid. Most of them, the Baptist churches that we attend. But, anyway. So, yeah, parents, I'm not by any means being judgmental or anything like that. But, I would encourage you to think about, the children are missing a great opportunity to learn from mom and dad at a very young age.
As setting an example.
Yeah, well,
I
the same
guess.
thing.
Yeah. How did we get off on that?
That's
I
where I
was
started.
talking about angels.
And I started talking about them little devils in church. But like I said, we have none of those in our church.
No.
They're all grown. One of them sits up here close to the front next to her sometimes. But
Are you talking about you?
yes,
Okay.
I can be mischievous.
Oh, you behave on the front bench.
So anyway, well, angels.
No, I was just thinking about angels and how, God sends his angels, his divine messengers, his ministering angels to help us in our daily lives. And, guardian angels. I have a guardian angel I know. she saved me from many
How you know?
perilous things. I just know these things. Her name's Lily.
Lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. There's a song. I didn't just make that up, folks.
No, I think most people have heard that song.
So anyway, I encourage everyone to attend church. And if you have young children, I encourage you as soon as you can. And I think it's a case-by-case situation, I guess, is how it should be. Now, if you got like 18 or 20 kids, yeah, you might want to put them somewhere.
Well, my sister and her family go to a Catholic church, and they bring their children in the service from babies up, but they have a room that's just
Crying room?
It's called the crying room, and it's just outside the doors of the sanctuary or whatever it's called in the Catholic church. And there's a big window so that you can take your children in this room, and they've got a speaker in there so you can hear the priest and hear the service, but obviously the folks in the congregation cannot hear your crying child.
Well, see, in
So
my
I mean,
case,
that's a pretty good idea.
in my case, that would have been the whipping room. And the window would have been there, so they say, yeah, that Eubanks boy's getting it now.
I remember one time when Colton was little, he had a peppermint and got choked on a peppermint. And I don't remember if your mom or somebody had given it to him, and we kept saying, do not give him peppermints. Well, he got a peppermint and got choked. And we grabbed him up and went flying out of church. And
I finally got it out of his throat right as I went out the back doors, and he spit it out in my hand. I remember that.
Yeah.
He was a little bit too young for a peppermint, but anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with whipping kids in church, though.
I just remembered
Oh.
about Colton. And then when Tiffany was little, we had a little hickory that we kept in the bench where we
You
sat.
can't say hickory. We're on YouTube. They'll demonetize me. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not monetized.
So
hey,
anyway,
like and subscribe.
but we kept that there. But we might have used it once on her, because if she started misbehaving, you would reach for that, and pull it up, and she would stop, and she would,
Yeah.
So.
So, anyhow, I encourage everyone that attends church, if you have young children, as soon as you possibly can, get those children into the church service with mom and dad, and grandma and grandpa. My grandparents never attended church when I was growing up. I don't really know why. They were spiritual, religious people, but they just didn't attend church. And anytime they did show up for church, I can still remember it. And it's just church is a family thing. And
When I was little growing up, we
well,
lived.
you're still kind of small. Well, in statue.
Yeah. I was born in South Carolina, and we lived there until I was about 11
She was hatched.
years old. And anyway, the church that we attended in South Carolina, my parents sat in the choir, and at this particular church, the choir never came down in the congregation. They stayed in the choir loft for the entire service. So I sat with my great-grandmother, and I just have really special memories of sitting there with her. And sometimes I'd pay attention, but sometimes I would draw or color, or had Barbies, or, sometimes
No Matchbox cars?
I did play with Matchbox cars. I did misbehave sometimes, and
she would not get ice cream? Was that what it was?
Well, I was always threatened with I wouldn't get ice cream, because after Sunday night service, we would go get an ice cream if I was good. Well,
Hey,
of
it's
course,
6:15.
of course, we always got an ice cream because I was always good. I was just a little angel. But there was one time I did misbehave, but I got an ice cream anyway. It was a hot fudge sundae.
Brewster's is still open. If you behave the rest of
If
this
I
vlog,
behave, will I get an ice
about
cream?
another 30 minutes, I'll get you an ice cream, baby.
So, those are special memories, sitting there with my great-grandmother, and, just something, I just remember, because there was a lot of my family that attended that church, and I can just picture in my mind where everybody sat. And I know my grandmother, there was a nursery at this church, and my grandmother helped out in there a lot. But my great-grandmother, which was my dad's grandmother, I sat with her. So I have some very special memories of that growing up. So, she never sat in the choir, sang in the choir, but I sat with her, and so.
Well, when they say it takes a village to raise a child, it does. And especially in church. And, I can understand that, maybe a family that has no church, family members that attend church same place. I can understand there is a time when you need help. But I just want to encourage everyone, as soon as you can, get those children into service with you.
And they'll
And
learn.
like I said, I'm not knocking anybody, or I'm not knocking any
absolutely
church
not.
for having a nursery.
No.
But there comes a time when, the parents will make sure their children are involved in this activity, that activity. They'll take time off work. They'll do whatever they have to do to make sure their children are involved with these certain activities. You need to have that same focus
Attitude.
on church.
Yeah.
And that means, taking them to the, making them sing in the little choirs, making them participate in the Sunday school lessons. That, that's it. The parents, that's our job.
Right. It's not the church's job.
No.
It's the parents' job.
It takes somebody in the church to have that burden to teach those children, but it's
Right.
the parents' job to make sure the children are there.
Right.
Well, I'm glad we agree on that. You want to have another baby?
No. We have 2 dogs.
They can't go into Sunday school.
I know. They can't go.
But
to
if we had a nursery, they go to the nursery. I'm just teasing. All right, so we have rambled on here too long now. But we just hadn't made one of these in the last couple of months because it's been so blasted hot.
It's too hot. But now it's fallish. Feels nice out here today.
I looked it up online. We have been through 7 yards of hell with all the heat we've had this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to show off my corncob pipe. I wanted to get one with a hook in it, but didn't have one of those. But people, that thing was $14. and it come with a filter in it. How about that? The bit here is real flimsy. I'll have to be careful not to bite on it too hard.
Yeah,
I'll
so
break it.
you can't smoke that when you're angry.
I never get angry. I get even.
I'm gonna watch out. Lightning.
Ain't a lightning bolt nowhere gonna get me before it gets you, baby. So anyway, if you have found this interesting, please hit the like button. I really need some likes. I am getting super close to 1,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate it, especially if you've watched 15 minutes and 37 seconds of me and my bride. Just hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate that. Hit that notification bell. I post everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of stuff. And useless stuff, useless, useful, and interesting, and stupid. There's some kind of acronym in there somewhere. So you got Jeff Eubanks
And Christy Eubanks.
here on the farm, and we're signing out. Y'all take care. Bye-bye. See you later. Bye.